Chip giant Nvidia reporting better than expected fourth quarter results after the bell, driven by revenue growth of 75% in its core data center business. Nvidia dominates some 95% of the data center market, but it has a price to earnings ratio that is consistently below other chip companies. I spoke to CEO Jensen Huang after the quarterly release and asked him if he was concerned about how the street values Nvidia.
I think part of it is just imagination of how large a company can be, and imagination of how large this computing industry can be. I would say, starting from the punchline, the market can't hold us back forever. And the reason for that is because we're going to keep on growing. And the reason why we're going to keep on growing is because software has fundamentally changed. The way software was done in the past, in these classical computers, the amount of computation necessary was not very high. But because AI is contextually aware, meaning every single time you use AI, it's generating the tokens, it's generating the response to you, generating the answer to you for the very first time. And so it has to compute and has to do artificial intelligence. The amount of computation necessary for the future of software is enormous. And so people are kind of wondering, is this $700 billion in the top 5 CSPs, is that sustainable? And I'll just tell you, absolutely. This is the way computing will be done in the future. Every single query, every single way we interact with, every time we interact with the computer, artificial intelligence will be involved, and the amount of tokens that will be generated will continue to grow. And so I think the sustainability question, people have to understand from first principles what's happening to the software. We understand it better than most, and they have to understand what's the direction of AI. The other thing is, will AI, people have questions about, will AI ever be useful?
Right.
And of course, when ChatGPT came out, everybody was inspired by that. And then it was hallucinating too much. And then all of a sudden reasoning came out and people were inspired by that. And all of a sudden computing demand continued to shoot up. And then now the question is, will AI ever be useful for enterprise? And here we are at a new inflection point with AI now agents being used in enterprises all over the world. The demand for these agent AIs are now skyrocketing, and the revenues are skyrocketing.
Sure.
And so I think these are things that people will understand, and they won't be able to hold back the stock much longer.
The one question though is people look at your competitors. Let's say an AMD who just signed this deal with Meta earlier this week, and they think, okay, maybe some of these other companies could make some inroads into market share at some point. Again, you guys are 90 to 95% of the market as it is right now. You are the 800-pound gorilla, but do you worry about losing market share to any of those chip companies?
Well, this is the largest computing industry the world's ever seen, the largest opportunity that the world's ever seen. And so it's understandable that we have a lot of competition. But obviously our position in the marketplace is because it's really, really hard to do what we do. And the pace that we do it, the scale at which we do it, has never been seen before. Our R&D budget is already $20 billion, growing and focused on just one thing and one thing only. Of course, other people are building chips here and there, but NVIDIA is building the entire AI infrastructure. And these AI infrastructures, the AI factories, are incredibly hard to build. The technology is complicated, the software stack is complicated, and the pace at which we're doing it is incredible. And so, no matter how you look at it, NVIDIA's leadership is pulling ahead every single day. And the type of deals that people are doing kind of tells you how hard it is, the work that we do. And then the last thought that I'll share is, because AI requires compute, and because AI is now tokenized and tokens have revenues associated with it, compute is a company's revenues now. I call it an AI factory for a good reason, because a company's factory is the source of its revenues. It's the source of its growth. And so the choice of the architecture is vitally important because it directly affects your revenues. It directly affects your company's growth. And so if you look at our architecture, our performance per dollar, our tokens per dollar, our tokens per watt, per amount of energy used, is completely off the charts, better than anybody else's in the world. And when the world is power limited, and when your factory is power limited, then our architecture translates to the highest revenues for our customers. And revenue growth matters.
We mentioned